while white defendants were mislabeled as low risk more often with these triplets to determine crime. So they could say, they could blame you're going to commit a crime in which you're going to do something to somebody. And now is realistic, in my opinion, because it could happen today. It could have high technology to determine who's going to get parole, who's going to re-offend, who's not going to re-offend, to be seen as to re-offend, and that's not true.
To black. You are listening.
Make sure you subscribe. As I said, 20%. Moving on. The AI development community must work together to take a public stand that can be used to. So isn't this a trip? We already are riding a bike, barbecuing, as you had the situation in Oakland, California. I was harassed by the police just walking to my uncle's house and walking up to him and say that I did something that I didn't do. I pulled out my ID. Unfortunately, I had to contract with them through the ID. You know, see what they're going to do to you. Look it up. And so we always face this as black people, think that they wouldn't be biased towards us and the technology that they create when they don't see us as a part of this world. See, black folks in America or around the world, we are those Klingons on Star Trek, the rebel Klingons. Even in technology, there are racial biases. And there's some out there that won't believe. Is go online for yourself. Look up the Georgia Tech study on darker skinned people, melanated people walking on this earth, and how it could be a risk for us going always.
Information is power.
I want to let you all know too, I'm going to go over some, let me just say it like this. I'm going to talk about the Illuminati. I'm going to preface that because I also am going to get into other material that sort of pushes these new brother Info Man will be getting into that subject matters and many more into alpha waves, which kind of sedates us. The reason why you're able to relax when you're listening to very quiet and soothing music is because it's putting your brain in the state of alpha waves, pacifying you, slowing you down. Okay, when you're in STEM, you're thinking, you're processing, you're thinking critical. That's your brain is working in the beta state. And from both sides of the coin, left, right, every side of the coin. I remember when I was a kid, I was told a long time ago, thorough investigation, okay, to come to facts that are based in. Everybody out there that's watching the program, once again, let me give you a most important clue.
College has a lot of distractions. College is not a place where you're going to visit your girlfriend or your boyfriend. All those things are part of life. But I remember thinking that's a lot of money. I think it's serious. Page. I asked you guys to do that because it's really important. It really helps us. Also, again, I'm in Facebook jail all the time. I stay in Facebook jail. Thank you all. And just in case they put me back in Facebook jail, text the word BOYCE. Text BOYCE to 31996 3199. Education. I think that because I'm always black all the time, when I wake up every day, I keep on being black, and I can't. You know, they're expensive. We know that. We know that there are some benefits to attending these universities, but black, and we know that being in these universities, it's not the experience for us isn't always the same. Sometimes we feel like we're in enemy territory. If you have the book, it's on page 97, and I want you to kind of hear this, and I want you to apply this to all levels of immigration, meaning us chasing down white universities to try to get in and giving them all of our wealth in order to do that. He says school integration has, the majority white society has not been required to give blacks anything they did not already have. Who want to educate their own children. They built a college. We can build universities. We can create, I'm the black Bill Anderson, and Harvard doesn't have anybody teaching powernomics, right? So we give you something that's better than Harvard. So if we can do it, then you know it's going into the university's pockets. That's why, tell me if you've ever seen this. Do you notice how I bet if you drive by that university, you're going to see construction sites and stuff blocked off, yellow tape everywhere, because they're building. There's a lot of high revenue businesses that are nonprofit. Nonprofit just means that you got to spend the money you make. So basically, a lot of every building within a 20-mile radius, they're buying up entire hoods. They're going to black neighborhoods, gentrifying the shit out of them. They're doing backwards because of what poor black people are doing. Black wealth has gone backwards because of what higher income and educated black people are doing. It is not what the uneducated are doing this cause. It's what the
sky, and it's a Boeing 737. It's the same one as the Indonesian flight that 3 nations were involved, and that the accident had happened at 11:33. People have been questioning the entire scenario and asking themselves, first of all, let me just let you know, on the 8th of March 2018, demonstrations in the capital city. So they were warning their citizens about the demonstration should fly in or out of Bole Airport on Sunday, 10th, Angel of Death. You know, they'll come and they'll say, they'll warn their citizens, and then the next thing we know, there'll be an attack. Share their intelligence with our governments, and our governments happen to ignore. Because why is allegedly the U.S. Embassy, they were supposed to sell a square or something like that. It's not close to the airport, let me just put it like that. So to also give the
have been preaching the glory of the civil rights movement to me since I was a little boy in school. I grew up thinking owning a business, not by owning assets, not by having power, but by going to a white university, giving them my family wealth to the tune of $100,000 in debt, a combined total of about $250,000 or more over a 4-year period, in hopes that, and you say, no, I'm going to go deep in debt so I can rent an apartment across town. Right? When you go into institutions that don't belong to you, that don't belong to your community, you are renting an apartment across town, when before integration, we were training our people to, oh, let's build with what we've got. Then they would say, you know, I got a house. It ain't much. It ain't big. It's tiny, but the shit's mine. And over time, if I keep building on it, I keep adding to it, eventually it's right now. You had more then than you got right now because it's built on lies. They're selling you, he's making this much money, you're making that much money. Maybe if you're loud like me, if you're a big mouth Negro like me, you probably got fired on your day off. Because it ain't fair. It ain't fair. Life ain't fair. And the thing is, this ain't over yet. But you're not trained to do that as black people. What you're trained to do is have fucks to give. They've checked the bank account and they have no fucks left to give. Liberal friends do not care. Because at the end of the day, you know, you get out and you're thinking things are going to go a certain way, and all of me, and I jumped up to catch the ball, and right before the ball came to my hands, before I caught the ball, and I remember being so pissed off. I was like, that's not fair. Nobody cared. And so at that point, I had a choice. I could either sit and complain, right? So for black people, that's what they're going to do. They're going to, because black people cheat too. Asians, everybody cheats. Everybody, super important for us to kind of understand as black people is that this whole incident, isolated incident, why? Well, because they don't want to lose the illusion that they're doing. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what race you are. And what I believe is that smart people can kind of look through that and say, yeah, we're going to play this game with you. We'll all pretend like we are staying in a rigged game and hoping that the people who've been, because I can tell you this, you know, I used to believe this thing that people would say, I used to believe that, when it came to, all of this, when it came to race and racism, the statement was this. It was, black people can't be racist. You ever heard that? Tell me if you've heard that before.
Government. China has pushed back at a request to put the leader of a Pakistan-based armed group on the UN's time to consider the requests from the US, France and Britain. The US senators voted in favour of a resolution to withdraw Brexit in another day of drama over Britain's departure from the EU. Now, politicians will be asked if the leaving date should be delayed. Rescuers.
How has this radical transformation occurred? Corruption, Romania, people power, on Al Jazeera.
The 13th.
Getting nervous?
30 years. I'm fortunate that I was able to come over here and to go into the medical field. I think it was footage of a father carrying his son with his arm completely amputated. That's what actually instigated me.
We haven't talked about the trip yet with our younger daughter. With my older son, we just go someplace else. It's probably going to be difficult. I don't know what exactly he'll see.
But I think every little bit helps. I know if I was in that. These are mainly external inside the bone. These are joints. I have a couple shoulder joints and a hip joint. I can see Syria within 50 feet from where I'm staying. Speaking to the hospital administrator today, usually they're closed tomorrow, but عندك احساس رايح طبعا؟
ايه هي ما بقدر احركها وصارت هيك ترقص لحالها هي الاصبع.
انا واحدة؟ ايه
والصورة اكيد. قالوا لي حطها هيك صورة ثانية مليها هيك بالميل. I was covering for my Syrian hospitals. I cannot. They will kill me if they catch me. It happened with some friends. My real name, they will kill my parents directly. Because I'm fighting him. He's shooting us everywhere. You know what do you call this? Wheat down in a market. They were like just trying to buy some food and go back home. The ambulance team all killed.
بجوز إذا رايح الوتر رايح منه يا ما بدي أخده يا يا شو اسمه سيخ.
طيب إمتى الموعد؟
أول عام.
This girl come from Aleppo. 10 your friends died. كان ينتشر عبر القنوات. خبروني إنه اسمي صار على الحواجز. بتأثر فيني وبتخوفني بصراحة. يعني الموت برصاصة أهون بكتير من إنه رح نكمل فيها شو ما صار. تعني الحرية.
Coming in with very complex problems and also by the human side. The patients had stories behind their injuries, which also like adds to that kind of emotional stress. وتر من هون ونلفه لهون.
يعني حصل هيك انفجار ضخم. يعني صار كان فيني شوية هيك إني أحسن أتملك حالي مع الأحسن.
شغلته اللي منيحة إنه هو صغير، ولو يكون يعني الولد صغير العصب فرصة نجاحه تكون أكثر بكتير.
كرسي كهرباء ولا كرسي والله فكرت بالدنيا ما أنا في غير إنسان. قلت أنا بتساعد المظلومين. من الساعة 6 أنا بكون قولي له أبو يحيى من تركيا لسوريا سيد جسر. أولا مريض. شوي تماما شوية. يلا انزل انت. واحد انزل الله يرضى عليكم. كذا اخذتوه كله؟ سيتي خذ يلا خذ شيء تعطوا شباب.
الشداية السوداء اللي فيها التركيب.
Walmart towels that will rub red on your skin if you don't wash them good. Go to JCPenney's and get old nasty piece of quality towel and like, really? Yeah, she gone. Yeah, she gone. So Kwani be doing that. Kwani be doing that. And I'm like, Kwani, please do, just tell it, Kwani. It's interesting. I mean, she's many things. She's many things. She's many things. So, you know, yeah, she's really many things. Go ahead and get the book. I tell you what your children need to be doing. I'm gonna go. Students should be taking in their classes, okay, in the book. Here in their junior year, this is a guide, so you can really be talking to the guidance key or the SAT and the practice test, and then it's just occasions, okay. Then in your senior year, you need to start college visit. Take the SAT, ACT, complete and submit scholarship applications, make informed decisions about student loans. Complete and submit scholarship applications prior to deadline. Request training. Y'all gonna get guaranteed to get into Harvard and Yale. But it's gonna help you make some realistic decisions. The college trap. What colleges don't tell you, what you need to know. It is on Amazon, and I have 3 classes left until I get a degree, but it's definitely not perfect. None of us are, but overall, I've developed a love for her. The love and support that exudes from her is the SAT test. In other me like Beauty over there, before she go make a video, I'm looking for a master's program now. Hey, oh, you love me, Joyce? Now you love me, Joyce. I got you. Jonathan, stop. I'm definitely getting your book, brother. Thank you, Lydia. Yes, I need to order that. This is what you need to tell your daughter. She needs to be studying for the NCLEX right now. She needs to be practicing for that NCLEX. You can't pass the NCLEX. The nursing schools don't want you because they stay open. You got the University of the Southwest. There are a lot. So what state do you live in? You got a lot of choices to choose from. I'm going to recommend that you go to a state institution And if you're not going to go to a state institution, go to a private make sure it is regionally accredited and programmatically accredited. Now, I'm going to be on that crew. You got a scholarship, that's beautiful. So today, this is my only meal. Small portion salad with 1 ladle of balsamic vinaigrette dressing, and I had name. But just know that Purdue purchased University. Central Michigan is not bad. Check them out. Check out Arizona schools out first so you can get that in-state tuition and not get hit with that out-of-state tuition, because out-of-state tuition is killing. If you wonder what Fifi just got this book called The College Trap, What Colleges Don't Want You to Know. You know, colleges do not tell you about these extra fees. Colleges do not let you know that the last day of drop and add is this day and this day. And this is why I tell students in the book, it is very important that you pay attention to the academic calendar and to the financial aid calendar. Because if somebody...
Peste 1250 de inculpări.
Pe măsură ce ți se umple, poți să mai adaugi un etaj și asta e cumva închisoarea corupților.
Corruption has been created in Bucharest.
Bine, păi atunci să începem. Ce e corupția? Dicționarul limbii române spune ceva că este o abatere de la moralitate și de la cinste. Acum corupția la noi nu e chiar de ieri de azi, e destul de recentă și destul de haioasă. Cine știe despre ce e vorba câștigă un premiu. Caltaboș a zis? Azi a fost produse alimentare, valoare de 1500 de lei și 15.000 de euro. Pentru presă și pentru public, cel mai frumos a fost Caltaboș.
Accepting bribes in cash and sausages. Charged with taking bribes.
În spatele meu e Primăria Generală, da? Foarte tare la fisc din țară.
Robert Negoiță, Mayor of Bucharest, Sector 3. Owes
20% comision din ce se construia.
Marian Vanghelie, Mayor of Bucharest, Sector 5, from 2000 to 2016, charged with of taking bribes in exchange for services.
Ca să treci clasa, drăguță.
Nu toți hoții more creative and elaborate.
Ceea ce vedem în România destul de evident este corupție. Persoane care donează atunci când este vorba despre campania electorală pentru a obține bani. Vorbim aici despre lucruri.
La DNA a fost coadă astăzi la audieri. Minute în șir au avut de așteptat pe trepte președinți.
A growing number of corruption revelations in Romania have implicated politicians from every party. Thousands of scandals and shameless dealings have been brought to
And we're talking about, we had a whole panel there talking about how do we simplify the FAFSA people, especially underserved, students of color.
And so one of the things that many black folks have been talking about on social media has been to get her daughter into a better school district. She served 10 days in jail, was put on probation for being a sister, bribing folks to get their kids into these elites. Not college, but in primary and secondary. And so, how the law enforcement may treat you differently than how they might treat these rich parents.
Well, now I want to know if they're going to set an example for these rich elite parents. Hang on him. So they just started looking for things because he didn't enroll them, I did. So the next disability, he was a sick man. They sent him to prison. He never came home. He died there.
To have these rich parents, again, some paying upwards of $1.2 million to get their kids in, faking as if they were also athletes, getting them into school in Yale as about, again, race and class and ass kids. One of them who said, Laura Loeffler's daughter, I don't really care about school.
At the time, I was living in metropolitan housing after I got my divorce. So yeah, anyone else that wanted to do as I had done. I want to see if they do a day in jail.
Well, and there was another story. There was a black woman who...
Right. She was homeless, and I know who that is. The name is... I'm getting fogged up with the name right. You see how this unfold and develop. My whole thing is God don't like ugly, and he ain't too fond of pretty. That's what Mom used to say. And we're going to see what happens.
All right, Kelly Williams-Bowler, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to go to my panel here. Again, this is for the people. And here you have black parents out here who have been, now granted, these folks were arrested, but let's just be honest.
These are parents who do the very best for their children. They want more. They want additional access.
There's nothing about any of these kids that's called, they talk about gratitude. If you got,
it's hard when you ain't got boots. And education, the singular most race. Yeah. The reason those laws are in place for high schools, elementary schools, on the other hand, with these rich institutions, this is the reason black folks ain't shocked, because we all knew this was going to happen. Right. Yeah. The minute you walked into school at your predominantly white institution for either undergrad or grad school, you realize that these folks were not here because of merit. You realize that there's a wing of the library named the most brazen federal fraud version of it. But when we're talking about legacies, when we're talking about people, we have to address that from a systemic point. And the next time someone makes this argument about affirmative action, that's what we're talking about. When you have 500 years to build up wealth and I can pay for your kids.
Action is supposed to help people who have been historically disadvantaged and left out of the system. It is a small band-aid over who are legacies.
29% of Harvard's freshman class.
That thing has legacy admissions, which means if your parents went to Brown or Harvard or you know, who had started pushing for admission to elite schools.
Yeah. And family goes back generations at the Naval Academy, and that's service to your country. So I would go to
why should you
They did have the grades. My brother did.
Family, I'm talking about
legacy.
I'm talking about the policy of where legacy admissions came from.
I'm very proud of my family's legacy at the Naval Academy.
And Jews probably out of the colleges.
Well, let me say
that's what it's about.
Yeah. Just one quick. Is the American public ready for these parents going to jail?
There are parents who are.
I don't think quite understands the conversation. The conversation was not about the legacy of her family serving in the Navy. The conversation was just because your family, your great-grandfather, your grandfather, and your father.
Question, because it's, you know, it's questioning her privilege. I mean, let's be honest. Meghan McCain got that job on The View because of who her father. She went to ASU and came fresh out of college. Let's be real.
And Abby Huntsman, of course, you know, she got a job at The View as well. So go,
Anderson Vanderbilt.
Go ahead. Well, but I'm an alpha. That's not a guarantee that my nephew is going.
Then this white, blonde-haired woman completely misunderstanding the entire context. Your brothers, your grandfather, probably all got in because one person, 150. I mean, we weren't allowed in because we were still property. So that's the entire concept around
which means, and that's why this whole thing is very interesting. And I'm telling you, as Kelly Williams-Bowler says, it's going to be real interesting to see how these parents are treated in the legal system. Now, when you talk about the old way, but beyond bribing, they didn't warrant it. SAT scores didn't warrant it. We thought for sure there was no way this was going to happen. Then lo and behold, and they were very open where they said, this is the deal. This is what has happened. Where you have people who have made 6- and 7-figure donations for their children to
name. You have a Yale next to your name. That makes you better than somebody who has a AIT next.
No, here's the piece.
And it does open doors.
But here's the piece. I agree with that. The problem is this system has created critical of her for a variety of reasons. But a university, she went to SMU. The reality is this current Supreme Court is literally a Yale and Harvard alum. Not the same reaction. And so you can't help folks who are falling for that because this country says if you go there, you're in Rice University. Look, I know in this town, in New York as well, if you go to those places, you have a leg up on anyone else because those institutions also promote that. There's a reason why Harvard and Yale has the two top universities in the country with the highest endowment. Because you go there, they're going to usher you into those jobs. You have great talent with the TSU or University of Houston, and you're trying to get in, but You didn't go hard.
But the thing is, this is not a meritocracy. Like, let's stop this pretense. It's not a meritocracy. It's not necessarily when I our life. And I said, but girlfriend's coming to me for help.
Look what P. Washington did. She said the only way to change it is to change it. And until we put ourselves in that mindset of understanding that we can build our institutions to be exactly the same, we can
to their standard.
And you got to read
that was one of look, I said it. Think about it. I'm gonna fall into the deal. My biggest thing in television, I said Jeff Zucker, 25 years old, became executive producer of the Today Show. And when you look at all the other different people, but the reality is, you go to these places, and here's the other piece: black parents, all of these positions of influence and power, whether it's Wall Street, whether it's hedge funds, whether it's politics, whether it's Silicon Valley, that is the American system that was designed to keep black folks out. And turn on your notifications. All right, folks, a lot of us trying to get healthy into 2019. Some of us trying to get fit, get ready for, of course, upcoming. If you want to try the D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse, go to dherbs.com, dherbs.com, or you can also call 1-866-4-D-Herbs, 1-866-4-D-Herbs.com, or 1-866-4-D-Herbs. And don't forget to use promo code Roland. We certainly appreciate D-Herbs being a partner here at Roland. Mr. Doug Jones. He came by to talk about his new book, Bending Towards Justice, the Birmingham. One of the issues that we have, a lot of our viewers have been talking about, and that is this college scandal that's been taking place. As many of us, we've dealt with people who can criticize affirmative action programs, things along those lines, but to have these rich parents.
And what experiences do you have? This is about admitting somebody to school based on what they've been able to carve out in their lives. Now, look, you always got to stop there and say, that still doesn't mean the playing field's level for everybody. It's not no learning experiences for the 5-year-olds, for the 4-year-olds, for the 3-year-olds, for the 2-year-olds. Because here's the deal. The well-to-do parents are getting those experiences for their children. Something in his or her life.
The moment folks are born and they're going into pre-K all the way through college, and to have a white dropout make more of the money than they
college. A lot of young people who've had, but those colleges and universities are not getting the kind of federal support that I think they should be entitled to. If we really want to have, whether you finish at technical school, whether you finish at 4 years at college, whether you finish at a graduate degree, but we've got to make sure that the quality is high and that everybody's got access.
9 million black-owned businesses, they were doing an average revenue of about $110,000. Today, it's $54,000. So we have 700,000 more. They're doing less. One of the issues is also access to capital. One of the problems is that when you look at, for many African Americans, the only collateral they have is their home. But when you look at the home foreclosure, then also this housing crisis, which still is impacting us, that that black people have never gotten above 50% home ownership.
Yes. So I'm glad you asked about both of these, because these are right in the spaces, as you know, where I work all the time. Leaders who are really committed on this, and I promise you, class families, working class families, the working poor, and the poor. And it's the civic foreclosure crisis, which 1-2 punch has kept African American families from being able to get homes in the first instance in formerly redlined areas and certain low-income neighborhoods. We're going to make down payment assistance available so that they can get a foot in the door to start building up some wealth. So far as I know, just ignored what was happening in African American communities.
Have this discussion in one of those places, talking to African Americans, and we would love to be able to moderate that town hall, because our audience has lots of other questions on many other issues. And when I watch these other town halls on these mainstream networks, they really aren't talking.
Doing the town halls elsewhere, I wanted to be able to do this one. at a college like Jackson State. I wanted to be able to do it in Mississippi. I wanted to, because that's really the point of this fight. We got to be in America that doesn't just work for a thin slice at the top. We've got to be in America that works for everyone.
All right, we're looking forward to that conversation.
I love it. I love it. You know, I'm a University of Houston grad.
Oh, well, all right, cool. I appreciate it. In HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline to apply is March 31st, 2019. Go to FGB, their Teacher of the Year. There were 7 finalists. And so we showed you on Monday the person who won the Teacher of the Year, but we also wanted to show you some of the other finalists. So he is Jediah Wright.
Anytime you go into a room, there's this buzz of activity, you know, whether students is interacting with their environment, having conversations with one another. She really encouraged them to communicate with each other.
I like Boots because she's fun. We learn to read and write our name.
When I go into the classroom, my goal is to reach all of my students, but I know that if I just reach one, that is so loving and caring, it gives me peace of mind while I'm at work, while also making me feel comfortable with her being a part of Carson's community and raising her. Because they belong to me for the...
There's something right here. I want to ask my panelists here. And so, see if y'all gonna, what y'all think about this here. And so I think one of the mistakes that we make in our organizations, they're called rock stars of science. And so pull it up, please. You'll see one of them right here. You'll see here was another one here. So basically what they did was, if they did BA, I said, well, why don't you show the people who look at people as all-stars?
Well, I think it's a brilliant idea, and even right now with NFL free agency, we have reports on every single who are succeeding not in the way that we celebrate, not as NBA in any given year.
But we have to, Deshandra, just again redefine
this trade. Every year when I go to budget hearings, you know, teachers are coming asking for more money, A lot of them can't even afford to live into the county in which they teach. If you want to reframe the community in the service, so that's number one. Number two, you know, you have the Trump administration, you know, under Betsy DeVos, they're looking at cutting like student loan forgiveness programs. You got to be kidding me. You know, if you want people to go into the profession and to excel, we've got to offer them additional incentives. You know, we're not even saying that these positions are worthy because we can't pay them. And we're making it harder for people to want to get into the profession and stay into the profession.
Well, and again, I think that put your money where your mouth is. And I think that's also one of the issues there. And so one of the reasons we, of course, wanted to show you that particular Teacher of the Year, to show you teachers who are doing great things in the classroom and how to live. So XQ America, they have their the innovative things that are happening in the classroom and how do we improve education. We'll be broadcasting live from their event on Friday, so we look forward to bringing that to you. Robert, Deshandra, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Thank all of you for watching as well. Folks, many of you been tweeting me. Facebook has been down on pay via Cash App, PayPal, or even Square. Every dollar you else. I shall see you guys tomorrow. Got to go. Holla! You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's only Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? It keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club.
accused of plotting to turn poor old Europe into a bunch of gas junkies.
To the Nord Stream project.
None of the countries implicated in the project see a problem with it. Invaded Ukraine to pillage its energy stock.
And we all know the story in Russia. It invaded Ukraine to gain access to oil and gas reserves.
Denmark and Italy are more oil rich than Ukraine. Could it be that someone spent so much time in Iraq that now sees the fingerprints of its own place area? And it is Cuba, of course, taking advantage of Venezuela by a Venezuelan petroleum company and wired them to an account inaccessible to President Maduro.
We're exporting our commercial value system to our friends.
See, may need a little clarification. It's not about its problems at everyone else's expense.
Pompeo seems to believe that whatever the U.S. does is right and moral, and whatever Russia, China, or Iran do is necessarily wrong and immoral. To the relationship voluntarily, no one is corrupting anybody. It's a supposedly free trade, free market. The Europeans are appalled by Trump's decision to pull out of the nuclear. It makes no sense at all, unless you're a U.S. gas, company.
More new bills condemning Vladimir Putin's leadership. Caleb Morpin has the details.
According to some members of the U.S. Congress, Crimea as being part of Russia. Furthermore, they are demanding that the intelligence
speak out against strongmen and dictators.
We will sanction them.
Impose strict sanctions. Impose sanctions.
Expose,
condemn,
reveal,
and they must be brought to account for their actions.
Anyone who has ever watched mainstream media has heard that whole
Putin's worldview.
Russia is handling President Trump as an asset.
Russia were passed under the Trump administration.
To normalize investment and economic relationships with those operating in Crimea will not be tolerated and are subject
the sale of lethal weapons to the anti-Russian government based in Kiev. The rhetoric continues that somehow he's Putin's puppet.
Well, it doesn't really matter what he does. He can be totally hard on Russia. He can be harder than Obama or anybody else on Russia. They say he's not doing enough because it's all part of a greater plan to get Trump out of office. That's all it's about. It's really kind of a no-win situation.
National Space Station. Thursday night, Russian spacecraft will take 3 members of this will be their second take. They faced it with much dignity then. And
make it to the ISS. It was good training for all the crews we have here.
I'm 100% confident in the rocket, the nature of our profession.
The failure of the booster.
This is where the emergency capsule touched down some 500 kilometers, given that they plummeted 50 kilometers in a steep ballistic descent, many times stronger than the force of gravity. Wow. On the ground, no one was hurt either. You won't meet a single shepherd or bump into one step. As well as around the globe, it brought praise for the emergency
Dragon spacecraft, the first commercial crew vehicle to ever reach the International Space Station, marking the beginning of a new era of human spaceflight.
Exploration, further exploration of space, or the era of competition.
Lightheartedly, leaps or pepper. And it all looks pristine. You could take a picture with those.
For the first space journey in history is always the same, 7 a.m. sharp.
The rocket is finally out of the workshop where it was assembled manually, and it's taken to the launch site by a train, usually in a horizontal position. It's now raised to a vertical position.
Infrastructure. We'll have more details on that just in a few moments' time.
Join me every Thursday, business and show business. I'll see you then.
So when you want to be president, why would you want to be? Why would someone want to be president? Why is in the house? Question more.
Welcome back to the programme. In Germany, members of Angela Merkel are infrastructure. Though, as Peter Oliver reports, German ambassadors elsewhere are not exactly paragons of diplomatic tact themselves.
Chancellor Merkel is far from happy with the latest. Berlin would be limited in the intelligence that was
defining our standards for ourselves.
Other politicians have also been quick to condemn the US ambassador
policies. Again, US Ambassador Grinnell is threatening the federal government. The BND is supposed to buy routers from Cisco rather than Huawei. Otherwise, there will be less information from the NSA.
This is far from Richard Grinnell's first rodeo. Since the US ambassador arrived in Berlin, he's had a few. Where, when it comes to attempting to subvert the politics and constitution of the Central American...
Initiate an election process as soon as possible, and for this task, he is the legitimate interim president from the point of view of Germany and many European parts.
Shot President Maduro.
Nicolas Maduro not only lacks the democratic legitimacy necessary for political reasons, but he also denied the humanitarian situation that Venezuela is going through.
Which was then doubled down on by German
independent elections. Anyway, this support is irrefutable.
Significance in comparison.
The German ambassador in Venezuela has met with the self-declared leader of the country, a person, Guaido, who hasn't been elected by anyone, who hasn't even stood for him. And it's absolutely unacceptable for a German ambassador to meet him at the airport and to support him and to...
Today, here's a quick preview.
The more you think you are free, what can be more free than surfing on the web and so on?
British government says that these powerful tech companies, it's more a...
As your freedom, of course, is what you do, what you choose, and in the very exercise of your freedom, plus your choices in the style of, do you want Diet Coke or Diet...
Lines for this hour. Thanks for staying tuned on RT International. Ewan O'Neill will be with you for next hour.
Now it's going to come to your local bank account. So instead of getting 30 basis, there's someone that the central bank says is systemically important.
Or at least yet another Brexit denouement. This week, the House 49 in this meaningful vote was less than the even more crushing rejection in the last meaningful vote. Given that the House of Commons can have more of the House of Commons come up with an answer to Brexit from the benches of the House of Lords. We interviewed Baron Wigley of Carnarvon. Meanwhile, the Commons is trying to rule out a hard Brexit and ask for an extension to Article 50, but without saying what they are ruling in, and for what so, how local authorities are preparing to cope with the practical consequence. But first to Alex.
That's the campaign of the Chagos Islanders. I have followed their story for years. Let's run to democracy. Lynn Finlayson says, thank you for making us aware of the scandal. It's truly shocking. And the UK Chagos support group thanks Paul Monaghan, who was vice chair of the cross-party a long time ago before the internet. Only guys at that time could serve on what they called the Rock. We were told it was uninhabited before the United States arrived. She's just learned different.
We join the ultimate parliamentary wisehead in Lord Wigley in the second half of the show. But first, let us take a look at the impact of the Brexit process from economic theory.
Josh Cameron, welcome to the Alex Salmon Show.
It's so nice to be here in the flesh.
Very peculiar circumstances in which to be issuing a fundamental economic message.
You know what's weird? The markets have been so quiet. And I think because nobody understands what's going on, even the markets. Hammond, I think, rather than wait for something to descend from the heavens, and every quarter investment in British manufacturing has been declining. That is not a good sign. But Hammond is just putting the money in the bank and waiting for, see what happens next.
Maybe it's a thunderbolt that's going to emerge from the heavens. Is it possible we'll see the Chancellor back at the dispatch box in a couple of weeks' time saying, now I've got the post-Brexit spring statement. Brexit's consuming the political bandwidth. And one of the things that's looking like it's going into recession.
The German economy, I mean, that is the motor German. First, there's the short run, right? They sell motor cars to China. The Chinese economy has slowed, quite gone into recession, people thought it would, and to the European Central Bank. And suddenly we've reversed industrial planning, then to restructure the economy. So big changes.
So where stands Scotland in all of this? How does Scotland fit into this economic jigsaw?
Scotland's a very balanced economy. It's got food exports.
What about
Brexit crash out? But frankly, if I was a farmer, I would be, and if there have to be trade deals, I think the UK government would
off cliff edges and the rest of it, which everybody has indulged in. Are cliff edges that the economy will dive off?
My real worry about Brexit is a long-term one. Even with a negotiate, even if Theresa May got her deal through, leaving the EU at the moment crushed. Britain leaving the EU leaves Britain as an economy vulnerable in this world economically, and I think to move away from the euro.
About the last financial crash and some of the lessons, tell us in a couple of sentences what that's about.
Right, since I left, I've gone back to the tools. I'm a filmmaker, but what happened afterwards? What happened afterwards when the banks were bailed out, businesses, and essentially in the UK, it took about 100... it's called Spank the Banker.
You're entitled to the Alexander Craig for appearing personally on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the interview.
And is that impact already being felt? Alex interviews Councillor Chris.
Local authorities, large city local authorities, and the main challenge for a no-deal Brexit simply will be where will the money come from. At the moment, local authorities in Scotland benefit from around £379 million.
This is structural funds?
Structural funds, structural investment funding, and that's over the last 5 years that funding has been there, and it ends in 2020. And at the moment, the United Kingdom government has failed to actually assure councils and local authorities that that money will be there, and I simply can't